So, Jim, what are we talking about today?
Today, Duncan, we're talking about why does Scrum have so many meetings?
That is true. It does have a lot of meetings, doesn't it? Or
It does, and why is that?
and titles.
Well, let's nail this down, Dunk. How many meetings or events does Scrum actually have in one sprint, one iteration?
Okay, so I think there are four. I think there is sprint planning. I think there is a daily scrum, which admittedly you do have to have every day. And then at the end of the sprint, you have the sprint review and the sprint retrospective. So I am the maths guy. I'm going to say that is four. I think.
Now, why do teams feel that suddenly, when they're doing Scrum, there's more meetings than they used to be? Because that's what I tend to hear. We've started doing Scrum, and now we've got all of these meetings. Why does it seem there's more than four?
So I think part of this is the time boxes which are associated with those events. Sprint planning has an 8-hour time box. Sprint review has got a 4-hour time box. The sprint retrospective has got a 3-hour time box. This is a lot of time, especially if your sprints are 1 or 2 weeks. But those are maximums. You're not supposed to be filling those if you've got nothing to do. Those are a maximum for a month-long sprint, and you would absolutely expect those to be shorter if you're doing a shorter sprint.
I have regularly and do see teams exceed the 15-minute time box for the daily Scrum. So maybe that's where some of this perception of all of these meetings coming from, is that the teams aren't understanding the short, effective nature of what the daily Scrum is for.
I think you made a good point before we came online, which is that, 4 meetings doesn't sound like a lot. 4 donuts in a sprint doesn't sound like enough. If you look forward to your events like they were donuts, then maybe they'd be, I don't know where I'm going with this.
But why do they have to be bad things? Why is it a bad thing for the team to get together to collaborate on what we're going to do next, and then have a look at how that went, and then have a look at what we can do to get better next time, and then each day have a quick catch up on how things are going? Are we on track to achieving our sprint goal? Meetings sounds like bad things. A working session with the team to collaborate on what we're doing and how we're going to achieve our goals should be a good thing. The great teams that I've worked with have looked forward to the Scrum events. We've looked forward to retrospectives. With one of the teams I worked with recently, the retrospective was the highlight of the sprint because it gave us a chance to see where we were and to regroup as a team and decide what to do next. It gave this rapport, this camaraderie.
I think this comes down to, it feels like a lot if you're not looking forward to them. From your experience doing Scrum, has it felt like you were always doing meetings, and has it felt like those meetings were a waste of time?
What it has felt like is, wow, planning's coming around again. Like this sprint has gone really quick and we're already in planning again. So these iterations have seemed like they're going fast, but I've never had the situation where it seems like, oh my God, there's another meeting. And perhaps that's because the teams that I've worked with have embraced the agile mindset, the Scrum mindset of each meeting has a purpose, it has a reason. And once we've achieved that intended outcome, we can end the event. And if the team understand why they're in the room, what's the purpose of this meeting, and everyone understands when they've achieved that purpose, we can end it and get on with the real work. Now, the developers that you've worked with, Duncan, have they enjoyed meetings?
Is that a trick question? No one enjoys meetings. But looking back at my experience with Scrum, it hasn't felt like I was in meetings all the time, because either we were doing real work or we were in events which were purposeful. It's all real work. It's all valuable if you're doing Scrum properly. I think the real problem isn't the framework has too many meetings. I think the problem is that people are going to too many meetings. And that's because these events are designed to replace all of the other stuff which people are going to. And in organizations which aren't doing Scrum properly, then that's not what's happening. They're layering these events on top of other existing meetings.
You're so right. Scrum is designed to wrap around existing processes or render them obsolete. Now, perhaps the teams that are having too many meetings, that are genuinely having too many meetings, are not doing that inspect and adapt process of seeing, okay, now we're doing Scrum. What other meetings do we not need? What processes are now obsolete? Maybe we're doing zombie Scrum. Maybe we're doing Scrum and we're also doing all of the other stuff we used to do as well, rather than actually changing the way we work and embracing the efficiency of wrapping around processes and then inspecting which processes we now no longer need.
There we go. Scrum does not have too many meetings. If it feels like it's got too many meetings, either you're in too many meetings and no one enjoys that, or maybe you're not having the sort of collaborative working experience, which is something that both of us have experienced.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there, Duncan. Scrum does not have too many meetings. Organizations have too many meetings. And it's up to organizations to change their processes to become more efficient, to deliver value faster.
And that, my friend, is Scrum Chat. How do you stop this thing? Stop. I press the button. When it stopped. Why does technology hate me?